Welcome to the Know. I'm Ashley.
I'm Mica.
With the launch of the Xbox One X looming for Microsoft later this year, things are at kind of a critical juncture for Microsoft and its gaming division. And right on cue, the company's just posted its financial report for the last year, so now we get to pick it apart and act all judgy about it.
Is the Xbox making a huge comeback, ready for the inevitable takeover of the next generation with the help of the big brother Xbox One X?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves with next generation.
All right.
Let's call it the Generation Plus?
New Generation Plus.
Right. Well, whatever happened, they're not doing that, whatever we call it. In fact, things still aren't looking amazing for the Xbox brand, at least not yet. Again, we'll see what happens when the Xbox One X comes out. But the report so far has lots of vague statements about just how well or not the Xbox console is doing, with hardware sales slumping and revenue dropping. However, there may be a silver lining for Microsoft thanks to one surprising feature. You probably would have guessed this, but it's the Xbox Game Pass service. Or maybe you did guess it because that's what this video is called.
Everyone's just like, you know, Xbox Live and chill, man. Do people
Sure.
still do that? Something and chill?
They do something and chill.
They do something
It's got
and
an
chill.
X in it.
Ooh. These numbers come from the fourth quarter and 2017 and year-end results for Microsoft. Now, you might be saying to yourself, but the fourth quarter is in winter.
That's so outdated.
That's so outdated. Well, you know, that's not exactly the case for all companies. Some companies end their fiscal years in other quarters, like at the end of March or June.
Look,
you know, whatever.
As long as you separate, you're like, we do things on a yearly basis. Microsoft ends theirs the end of June, so they sort of split the difference.
Some people like to start their weeks on Sundays. Some people like to start their weeks on Mondays.
I'm pretty sure that's just like a America versus everyone else thing.
Oh, whoops.
The part of the report gamers are going to be the most interested in has to do with the hardware sales of the Xbox One, of course, which is looking not so hot in the last quarter, according to Microsoft. That's because they've seen a 29% decrease in Xbox hardware revenue over the last few months, but there are probably some reasons for that, and we'll talk about it later.
We still don't have any hard numbers on how many Xbox Ones they've sold. They stopped talking about those a long time ago, but we do know some of the reasons for that huge drop in Xbox One money. Part of this has to do with heavy Xbox discounts over the last few months, and because people are buying less Xboxes in general. Both of these mean that there's less money earned, or in business speak, a decrease in revenue.
Meanwhile, PlayStation just reported the best June in history of their console, fueled mostly by that super cheap gold PS4.
It's worth noting, though, that one of the reasons people could be holding off on buying the Xbox One right now is because of the recently unveiled Xbox One X. Microsoft basically gave consumers a reason to wait on purchasing any Xbox hardware when they first announced it at E3 2016. But judging by early analyst predictions, it doesn't seem too likely that a huge percentage of people are really waiting on that console anyway, so
we'll see though. If you say I can buy it now or I can wait a couple months and get the new hotness, a lot of people are going to choose to wait.
True.
Now, despite all the poor sales for the actual Xbox console, there is some good news for the company, and that's because the game revenue overall did increase. It went up 3% and an additional 44 million. So that little percent, that's a lot of money from last year, even with hardware sales dropping.
The company also reported that the Xbox software and services revenue increased 11% thanks to a big jump in Xbox Live subscribers and those subscribers buying more shit on the service.
CEO Satya Nadella said about the Xbox's performance, "Our gaming business now is more than $9 billion and growing profitably. The gaming world is growing faster than ever before, from gameplay across multiple devices to the explosive growth in streaming and esports to new subscription services and mixed reality scenarios."
That $9 billion number sounds nice and impressive.
I mean, I'm impressed.
I'm very impressed, but it's not quite the whole story. The figure that's being quoted might be a little misleading, and weirdly, Microsoft is sort of double dipping for some of those stats.
And that is because Xbox hardware is lumped in with their personal computing sector, which also houses their mobile phone hardware, RIP. Meanwhile, they're separating gaming revenue into Xbox Live and digital sales and services. So they're sort of putting it into a couple of areas.
So it's the personal computing sector that's brought in the $9 billion, not the actual gaming sector, which is Xbox Live and digital goods. That's only brought in $1 billion, you know.
Only one.
Oh, measly $1 billion.
It's also worth noting that the $9 billion figure is actually a decline for the company by about 2%, and they're attributing most of that decline to mobile phone sales being down. But again, when you look at the numbers, Xbox hardware is also on the decline by almost a third.
So yay for investor number trickery. We're not really trying to pick on Microsoft here. Every company does this when it comes to investor briefings, so you have to figure out how to spin the numbers your way.
Right, because you want to make investors happy, and they're happy if they see good numbers. In Microsoft's case, it looks like they're trying to downplay how Xbox consoles are selling, which is probably in large part thanks to the new console they've got coming out this year with Xbox One X, so they'll see a resurgence then. You don't exactly win investor points by telling everyone that your console business isn't doing well, though. Oh, and by the way, we're also spending a lot of money on more consoles.
But back to the good news for the Xbox Live brand. Nadella also mentioned that Xbox Live has passed more than 53 million users. But more interestingly, part of the reason for the software and services revenue going up so much is thanks to one of their newest services, the Netflix-like Xbox Game Pass.
Nadella said, "We launched 2 new services to broaden our reach and enrich our gaming experience, both of which are off to a very strong start. Mixer, a new live streaming service, makes it easier than ever before for gamers to create and share across platforms and to interact in entirely new ways. The Xbox Game Pass is a digital subscription service that expands our existing gaming value proposition."
If you recall, Game Pass made some pretty big waves when it was first announced back in March. The promise of an affordable service that let you download and play 100 games without limits was so strong that it toppled GameStop stocks within days of its announcements. And now, it looks like it's helping Microsoft along in terms of live service revenue.
As for how Microsoft's numbers compare to the competition, because we always gotta make it about competition. Someone's gotta win, someone's gotta lose. That's how gamers work. PSN makes a stupid amount of money for Sony to the point where it's basically saving the company. It's kind of the opposite story with Microsoft, and a story they're hoping to rewrite with Xbox One X.
But so far, analysts aren't really that convinced. Just in the last week, both Media Research and Michael Pachter, aka the Back Attack, have gone on record about the new console, with each one doubting its performance this fall. And before them, many others have predicted the Switch to outsell all Xbox models for the entire year, not just the Xbox One X.
For the time being, it seems like the main strength for Microsoft lies in Xbox Live and the services they can offer through that, which isn't a huge surprise. When Xbox Live came out, it was a game changer for them. And they've continued to be really, really strong, even though if you guys could please stop changing your interface like every week, that would be awesome. I need to know where to find my stuff. Xbox Game Pass is a really unique offering that, if played right, does give casual gamers a really strong reason to consider Xbox as their next casual gaming destination, especially around the holidays.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where pressure is mounting for the other console manufacturers. Fans are asking for Sony to offer similar services on PSN, you know, better than PS Now, and Nintendo changed up their online service to be a Netflix-style rotation of classic games, which probably has zero to do with Game Pass, of course, because Nintendo does whatever they really want.
Man, we'll see what that ends up being like when it actually comes out, though.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see how the rest of the year plays out for each of the console makers, but Microsoft in particular, thanks to new hardware. In reality, might be the software that they should focus on, especially if Game Pass is doing that well for them. Not a huge surprise, but I'm glad to see it. But also, really curious to see how the Xbox One X does this holiday. I'm gonna get one.
I'm gonna get one too. So what do you guys think of Game Pass helping Microsoft and slumping Xbox One sales? Let us know in the comments.
And for future updates on super exciting financial reports.
Oh my god, I'm so excited about them monies.
Excited those numbers. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the Now.
Basically gave customers a reason to wait on purchasing any Xbox hardware.
I'm sorry, I sounded like you said customers.
Customers. It's also consumers.
Tell us more about how you feel, Mica. My skirt has pockets.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Everyone's gonna have these one day, except for women.
Yes.